Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the TCMMA podcast with your host, Chris Cross.
Whoa!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege. Privilege. Privilege.
Welcome to Week 7 Dana White's Contender Series. We're getting into all the predictions today on the podcast. But before we go there, I'm your host, Chris Cross. This is the TCMMA podcast. And we're going to jump into some news because there's some good news stories right now. And then we'll get into the predictions. So stay tuned for that. It's coming. Here's the headlines. Dana White unsure if Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight will happen after worrying injury update. So, and of course that's going to be Mike Tyson, right? Big question is his age. Also, Conor McGregor still wants Michael Chandler, says it is a must to fight out UFC contract. And that's kind of what we've been telling you, right? The toe thing, I get it. He had to pull out, but also a lot of the stall tactics right now are due to McGregor having just 2 fights, and he wants to fight twice in 2025. It's not going to happen. I'll tell you that right now. That's why he's not fighting until 2025. Daniel Cormier says John Jones and Stipe won't fight Tom Aspinall. I don't believe that either of them will do it. And if you didn't know, Tom Aspinall is the backup fighter, right, in case one of those guys go out. So say Stipe falls out and Tom Aspinall comes in, DC saying it won't be for the title, or John Jones won't fight him. Also, the big news, UFC star Khamzat Chimaev offers bizarre theory linking Trump to visa issues. So I found that to be highly interesting. We're going to get into that in just a moment. So since we're talking about Dana White and the Contender Series today, let's jump into the first topic. Dana White unsure if Jake Paul and Mike Tyson will fight. So the big story with this is that, of course, Mike Tyson is like 57, 58 years old. Without looking exactly, he's up there. And, I saw him walking out in Dallas last week as the Cowboys were playing. Him and Jake Paul did the face-off. And Mike Tyson just looks older and stiff, man. But, Tyson stated it's hard to walk right now. But 2 months from now, I'm going to be perfect. The fight is won in the gym. Listen, I'll do anything that will help me. That's Mike Tyson. Yeah, so Mike Tyson's going to be ready, and this thing is going to be in front of a lot of people, right? So Tyson's got to be ready. I mean, you hope that no one pulls out of this thing because there's going to be so many tickets sold and so many people there that it's not something that is going to be easily stopped. There's a lot of promotion already going on, a lot of money being spent, a lot of pressure on both of these guys to show up and perform. And, we're on record as stating we think Jake Paul is going to win. I would never be surprised if Tyson gets a KO early in the fight. But if this thing goes past 2, 3, especially 4 rounds, it's all Jake Paul from that point on. So he's just got to win like 1 or 2 of the first 4, and he'll run away with this thing. And, and what could easily happen is Tyson could just be taking it from rounds 3 through 8 as he starts to slow down. Because Jake Paul's in phenomenal shape, and the guy's 10-1. And lost a split decision to a real boxer. As we move forward, Conor McGregor still wants to fight Chandler. Says it is a must to fight out UFC contract. And that's the big story here as the delay continues, right? He wants to fight twice in 2025. McGregor saying at the big boxing fight that just took place, it will be 2025. It is what it is. I just take it on board and just rock on. And my job is to be in the gym, be in shape. And then he goes on to say, I will be 100% ready. And that's all he can focus on right now. And it is, getting back to 100%. But the UFC might drag this thing into March, April, May of 2025. And then he wouldn't get the second fight until 2026, probably a year later, because the UFC wants him to re-sign. They don't want him to run out this and really as a UFC fan, I don't want to see him run out the contract either. What am I watching for? I don't just want to watch this a Conor McGregor fight that means nothing. If he's not trying to get back in title contention, then what am I doing as a fan? Honestly. You know, as he says, I must compete twice in 2025. It's not going to happen. And he should know it's not going to happen. He wants the big money in boxing. And Dana White wants the big money in UFC, unless there's some type of mutual agreement. You know, we'll have to wait and see. Daniel Cormier says John Jones and Stipe won't fight Tom Aspinall. I don't believe that either of them will do it. And you know, forget Stipe. He just wants a chance at the title. He don't want to have to fight two guys to get there. Who, you know, he's older now, hasn't won in 4 years. This is his opportunity. If one of these guys pulls out, you know, especially, okay, if John Jones pulls out, Stipe's not fighting Tom Aspinall. We know what's going to happen there. If Stipe pulls out, would John Jones put up the title against Tom Aspinall? That will be the interesting thing. And should he even have a choice at that point? It's been over a year since he's you know, has been in the octagon. Should he have a choice? I don't think he should. But John Jones continues to find ways to stall. And yes, he was injured, but he always finds ways to stall for a year or two before he has to defend the belt. And what that means is he's the champion during all that time. And guys are just lying in wait. Just lying in wait. And what do you do to Tom Aspinall if he doesn't get in the octagon for 2 or 3 years? Because he don't want to take a chance. You know, he's beaten everyone he's supposed to beat. You don't want to take a chance of losing and ruining everything. So he's going to wait. And John Jones will make him wait. So I mean, DC's probably right in this situation. Khamzat Chimaev offers bizarre theory linking Trump to visa issues. And we put up a quick post on this, quick video of this last night. But Khamzat says, they promised me a title eliminator every time. When I fight Gilbert Burns, it was a #1 contender fight. After the Usman fight, I didn't get the title shot either. Now it's a third time. Let's see. Hopefully they will give me the title shot. And here's where it gets interesting. As long as DT, Donald Trump, is not the president, we can't come back to the U.S. And what he's referring to is visa being revoked back, you know, a little over a year ago. And alluding to the fact that if Trump were to win, because Dana White and Trump are friends, right? Because they're friends.
Dana White privilege.
That likely Trump would allow Khamzat into the country and make an exception. I mean, you never know. But Khamzat's trying to get into the United States.
Khamzat Chimaev!
Because he wants to fight. And it's really derailed his career. Because now you have to wait until they fight overseas in a place you can get into, Saudi Arabia, UAE, something like that. And those aren't every month. Those are like every 6 months. Every 4 to 6 months. So you're just on hold, and then you had to pull out after waiting a year, and now you're going to a year and a half, 2 years, so it's just not good. And the visa thing is really hurting him from being able to fight multiple times in a year. And really, that's what he needs. He needs to get into a rhythm. It's kind of crazy to just get in there with Robert Whittaker after being out of the octagon for so long. You know. But he's training. He's doing the right thing. He's got a new team, I heard. And I think they're going to focus more on health. You know, you got to recognize you got a gem here. And you got to make sure on fight night he's 100%. Because that's the only way he's losing, in my opinion. So the new team's got to make sure that he's 100%. Now listen, get into the chat room. Feel free to weigh in on these topics. We're going to circle back to them, but we're going to jump into the first fight of the night here at Dana White's. Well, actually, let's jump into the contract situation real quick, right? And you see here, you got 2 women flyweight division fighters that are in. And as you jump to the men's, oh, I see what's happening here. Let me get this fixed real quick. So as you jump into the men's, the bantamweight division is just taken off. I mean, the bantamweight division is loaded up with 6 fighters already. 6 fighters. in the men's bantamweight division are in. You got Haddon, Romeus, Wellmaker, Salkield, Musasa, Elijah Smith this past week. So the bantamweight division leads with 6 fighters. You got 3 featherweights in, 1 lightweight, 1 flyweight. So you can see what the UFC is trying to do here. When you get over to the middleweight division, it's second with 5. And you added a Thibaut Gautier, who's 6-1 this past week. That guy looks like a big boy. And then all the other ones, welterweight, light heavyweight, heavyweight, have 2 each. So a total of 24 contracts have been issued out by Dana White up to this point, which is absolutely incredible. So as we work our way into the first fight of the night, you got Alexia Thanara, 10-1, taking on Rose Cansecaio, who's 7-0. Brazil on Brazil, women's strawweight division. Doesn't get any better than that at the Contender Series. So let's jump right into it. In the women's strawweight division at Dana White's Contender Series, you got Alexia Thanara taking on Rose Cansecaio, if I said that right. Now Thanara is 10-1. Rose, Brazilian, also 7-0. So they're both Brazilian. No edge here. No easy way out for me in this one, because you know I like the Brazilian fighters. Rose is 1 inch taller at 5'5". She's 27. Thanara, 26. So everything's very close so far. Now Thanara, in her 10 wins, 1 KO, 6 submissions, 3 decisions. So she can go to the ground for sure. In her 1 loss, she was submitted. So that's a problem. Let's see who that was against. Oh, Bruna Brazil. Okay. A UFC fighter back in 2019. Since then, she's run off 6 in a row. But hold on, because her opponent, Rose, is undefeated as well. 1 KO, 2 submissions, 4 decisions. So where are you getting these decisions at? 2 of them at LFA. Okay. Another decision at Macaba Fight 3. She's also fought at Pentagon Combat as well. So I don't see any names that we recognize up and down. Here I see a lot of decisions that let you know, okay, she can fight. They're both from Brazil. Much like another fight on this card, they're kind of both undefeated because, you know, Thanara lost to a current UFC fighter, so you know the caliber of competition that she's had there. Can't really fault her for that one. It's going to be a very close fight. And there's no edge here because they're both from Brazil. So I can't look at the country and say, well, one's Brazilian, I'll take them, and they normally pull it out. Not 7 times out of 10, right? Can't do that here. But I like Alexia Thanara to get the win. Yeah, she was submitted by a good fighter, but she's capable of getting submissions. Like in 10 wins, she's got 6 submissions. So this fight's going to go to the ground at some point. Someone's going to have to get the finish. I think they're both going to be battling for it. And Rose is more likely to make the mistake. So that's why I like Alexia to win this fight on the ground. That's my opinion. She'll move to 11-1. If she gets the finish, she's in. She's in either way because there haven't been a lot of women come through the Contender Series this season. So the winner's in. That's the bottom line. It's my opinion. Women's strawweight division. Dana White's Contender Series. And I took the words out of my own mouth because I was getting ready to tell you. I mean, there's only been 2 women signed so far, so it's very likely that the winner of this fight is getting in. Right? No women strawweight fighters yet. Only 2 women so far, so whoever wins this fight is getting in. That's the bottom line. And we like Alexia. Now, as we jump into fight number 4, this is between Kevin Christian, 8-2, and Francisco Mazzeo, 4-0. This is Brazil versus Italy, light heavyweight division, and Christian is a 6'7" fighter. I mean, that's ridiculous. We just got a 6'8" heavyweight in last week. Now we got a 6'7" guy. So let's get into it right now. In the featherweight division at Dana White's Contender Series, you got Kevin Vallejos taking on Cam Teague. And both guys solid records. Vallejos 13-1. Teague is undefeated at 7-0. This is Argentina versus America. Now Cam Teague is 5 inches taller at 6 feet. Pretty tall for a featherweight. Normally weighs in at 155, so he's going to be light getting down to 145. He's 26. Vallejos 22 years old. Vallejos has some stats because he's been here before. He's a switch stance fighter, 68-inch reach, 4.7 significant strikes per minute in that fight, no takedowns. In his 13 wins, he had 9 KOs, 2 submissions. Impressive. So he lost to Jean Silva at the Contender Series by unanimous decision. We all know how good Jean Silva is now, right? Obviously, he's a pretty good fighter. Since then, he came back and won 2 in a row. So He seems destined to get into the UFC, but he's got to get through undefeated Cam Teague. So how good is this guy? Fighting out of Alabama, or from Alabama. Goes by Captain Chaos, 7 wins, 4 KOs, 2 submissions, 1 decision. He did beat Austin Lingo at Fury Fighting Championship, so that's a decent victory by TKO. Also has fought out of Empire Fighting Championships, beat Cody Jenkins there by TKO. He's won the last 4 fights by TKO after winning the previous 2 by submission and his first fight ever by decision. So that's what you want to see. Guy's going for it now. He's getting KOs. This is going to be a worthy competitor and a tough one for Kevin Vallejos. But if you take away the Jean Silva fight, he's basically 13-0. So to me, it's like having 2 undefeated fighters. I'm worried about the height of Cam Teague, but Vallejos looked, decent in his last fight, and his opponent that he lost to went on to do pretty well so far in the UFC for himself. So it lets you know that Vallejos has had that competition. You really can't fault him for that loss. If he would have beat Silva, he would have definitely gotten into the UFC and been performing well already. He happened to run into a tough guy who we found out later was pretty good. So, I like Vallejos in this one. I think he's fighting out of some decent promotions, and he's been at the Contender Series before. That gives guys a major edge, major advantage. They don't always win, but it's an advantage. So I got no choice but to go with Kevin Vallejos to win this fight. I'd like to see him get a 5th straight KO, I'll be honest. If he can do that, he definitely gets in the UFC, so that's what I'm rooting for him to get the KO and go to 14-1. That's what happens, in my opinion. Featherweight division, Dana White's Contender Series. Yeah, so you got 2 good fighters, just one has more experience. And in these settings when you don't know a lot about the guys, I know people get on me all the time, you need to do your research, it's like, dude, there's only so much time. These are guys that are not in the UFC yet. You can look up and down their schedule, and basically they're fighting guys you never heard of that aren't in the UFC, and you got to look at what promotions they're fighting out of and the level of competition and try to find some type of edge. It usually works. Last week we went 2-3, but for the most part, it's worked. We went 4-5, 4-1 several times this year off of that. So that's what it seems to be. Now, as you get into fight 3, I really like this one. It's a welterweight fight. We all like the welterweight division. And, you got Daniel Frunza out of Italy. He's 8-2, taking on Belarus, Vadim Kutsi, who's 17-1. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So let's get into it right now. In the light heavyweight division at Dana White's Contender Series, you got Kevin Christian taking on Francesco Mazzeo. And I like this matchup. You know why? First of all, it's 8-2 versus 4-0. So that's, you got a guy with some experience, a Brazilian, and an undefeated guy from Italy. But Christian is 6 feet 7 inches light heavyweight. That is crazy. Mazzeo 6'2", Christian 29, Mazzeo 26. Christian's got an 80-inch reach. In the welterweight division at Dana White's Contender Series, your co-main event, you got Daniel Frunza taking on Vadim Kutsi. And I like these names, man. Frunza 8-2, Kutsi, 17-1, fighting out of Belarus, taking on Frunza the Italian. Now, Frunza's 1 inch taller at 6'1". He's listed at 185, so he's coming down for this fight. Keep that in mind. He's 30. Kutsi, something like that, is 33 years old. So let's begin with Daniel Frunza, again from Romania. Well, one lists him as Italy, the other one lists him as Romania. So let me see what I can find out here. One of these have to be right. One of these got to be right. Okay, here we go. So Daniel Frunza, he's 8-2, coming in, right? Now, where's he fighting out of? That's the first thing you want to look at. First of all, he's on a 4-fight win streak, so that's helpful. He's got 7 KOs and 1 decision in those wins. He's been fighting out of LFA, where he's 2-0. So that's critical, right? You want to see a guy fighting in a big promotion. He does, and he's getting wins that way. He hasn't lost since Gary Bellato Jr. back in 2021. Now, Kutsi, again, from Belarus. He's listed at 16-1, possibly 17-1. But in those wins, he's got 5 KOs, 7 submissions, 4 decisions. He was KO'd once back in 2016. So that's a long time ago. He's run off probably like 10 straight wins, maybe 9 since then, fighting at a Brave CF 68, Brave CF 51, and a bunch of smaller promotions before that. So both guys got some level of competition. But listen, I'm not going against a guy that's 17-1. Okay, maybe 16-1. It doesn't matter. This guy has proven he hasn't lost in 2016. I got to believe that Cootie's going to come in here and dominate this fight and get the win, and the UFC can use some welterweight fighters. So look for Cootsie, in my opinion, to win, hopefully by finish. Don't go to a decision here. You got to beat a guy like this, and you got to finish him to get in. And I think he will. Welterweight division, Dana White's Contender Series. Yeah, and that's actually the co-main event. So I think we skipped the fight. I got kind of mixed up a minute ago, but it's all good. So we got to go with Cootsie, Cootsia, whatever, to get the win here in the co-main event. It's a welterweight division fight. Highly, highly interesting. Now, the fight I believe we did miss, and I won't know till later because I got turned around here, but it's fight 3, light heavyweight division. This is Kevin Christian, 8-2. Versus Italy's Francesco Mazzeo, who's undefeated. And this is fight 3. It should be a good one. Let's get into it right now. In the light heavyweight division at Dana White's Contender Series, you got Kevin Christian taking on Francesco Mazzeo. And I like this matchup. You know why? First of all, it's 8-2 versus 4-0. So that's, you got a guy with some experience, a Brazilian, and an undefeated guy from Italy. But Christian is 6 feet 7 inches, light heavyweight. That is crazy. Mazzeo 6'2", Christian 29, Mazzeo 26. Christian's got an 80-inch reach. In his 8 wins, 4 by KO, 4 by submission. He's lost twice once by KO, once by submission. So he's capable of being finished. That's not good. He's fought out of LFA in his last fight, winning by TKO. That's a good sign. And he hasn't lost since 2016. That's an even better sign. Now, Mazzeo's new, right? 4 wins, 3 by KO, 1 listed as other. So that was a DQ, so that doesn't even count. So basically, he's 3-0, right? Fighting out of Cage Warriors, though, so that's important. That's a well-known promotion. You're going to get decent competition there. But is 4-0 compared to 8-2? How does that play out? The guy has got limited experience, really 3 fights, if you don't count the DQ. Christian hasn't lost since 2016. He's capable of finishing people. And I'm highly interested in a 6'7" guy. Capable of being taken down, but 6'7", I mean, this guy's just wean, punching downward. So I got no choice but to go with the Brazilian too, right? If it's close, I go with the Brazilian anyway. So I like Christian to win this fight. I'm not sure if he gets the finish. That's a 50-50. If he does, it'll be likely by KO. But look for him to win one way or another. Maybe not get in. He'll be on the bubble. But he'll move to 9-2 here. Light heavyweight division. Dana White's Contender Series. Yeah, so he's a big boy, Kevin Christian. Light heavyweight division should be highly interesting. And, I like the fact he's 6'7". Hopefully he can get the win. And now we got a 6'8" guy and a heavyweight, 6'7" guy and a light heavyweight. Yeah, they're probably not going to come in and do a lot in the UFC, I would argue. But, if you can take him down, that's a big tree falling. You understand what I'm saying? So I'd like to see him get the win here and get some time. Now, in the heavyweight division main event, this is a big one. Heavyweight division, Bailey Schoenfelder, 5-0 versus Danylo Voievodkin. If I said that right, 6-0. This is USA versus Ukraine. A lot on the line in this one. Of course, you're always interested in the main event, but especially the heavyweight division. Forget about it. Let's jump into this one right now. In the heavyweight division, week 7, your main event. At Dana White's Contender Series, you got Bailey Schoenfelder versus Danylo Voievodkin, if I said that right. I'm known for messing up names. But let's get into this big main event at week 7. Both guys are undefeated, 5-0 versus 6-0. USA versus Ukraine. Oddly enough, Schoenfelder is 6'3". We don't have a height on his opponent, right? Schoenfelder is just 228 pounds. Voievodkin is 265 pounds. Now, Schoenfelder, 26 years old, 76-inch reach. Let's dig a little bit deeper into the American first. In his 5 wins, 4 KOs, 1 submission. Fighting out of Cage Fury Fighting Championships, LFA, and Bellator. I like that. Beating Greg Velasco, I've heard of him, and Mark Courier, I've heard of him. So 2 big finishes against what you could call decent opponents. Now, Voievodkin, in his 6 wins, 5 KOs, 1 submission. See what's happening here? Very equal. But he's fighting out of like PPC 17, Kratos Cup, WGFC4, RFP 92, and I'm reading these because I'm telling you the level of competition isn't the same, right? Both guys undefeated, but the level of competition is different. It doesn't mean that he can't win this fight, but listen, when it comes to the Contender Series, more times than not, the guy with better competition wins these fights. Not always, but I'd say 7 times out of 10, the guy with better competition wins. So I got no choice but to go with Bailey Schoenfelder. I mean, this guy's fighting out of LFA, Cage Fury, Bellator. Come on. Easy pick for me. So I like Schoenfelder to win and win big. It's a heavyweight fight. He's going to be the smaller guy, but he'll come through with the speed and accuracy and wear down his opponent to get the win. Just can't get taken down, right? But he'll get the win to move to 6-0 here. Heavyweight division, main event. Dana White's Contender Series. Yeah, so we'll take Bailey Schoenfelder in this one. This is a good prospect that you like to see get into the UFC undefeated at 6-0. And as you've seen up and down this card, especially in the main event, we're looking for an angle. These are guys we don't know as well. We always want to be on record as saying that. And we're looking for an angle. And when this guy's fought in Cage Fury, Bellator, he's got some big promotions. I mean, that's the angle we're looking for. Doesn't mean the other guy can't win. Say that again. But due to level of competition, we're going with Schoenfelder here in the main event. And this is going to be a good prospect at 27 years old, 6'3" heavyweight. Both guys look strong. Schoenfelder's given up 40 pounds, though. That could be a problem. But that's the way we're going in this one. So listen, we appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. Another great week ahead. We're on week 7, right, out of 10. So we're grinding it out. We're almost there. And it's definitely a grind because you got your regular UFC events. Thank goodness for 2 bye weeks during this 10-week stretch. Kind of help us keep up with everything and get future picks out there for you, like UFC 307, 308, 309. And listen, become a member. That's how you get into the chat room. You also get early access to future fight picks, big fight picks like Khamzat Chimaev versus Whitaker, Topuria versus Holloway, John Jones versus Stipe. Those aren't out to the general public yet, so become a member. I think it's like 99 cents a month for the first level, right? And if you want exclusive content, that's like $4.99 a month, something like that. So become a member, click the join button. But for now, it's your boy Chris Cross. I hope you have a great day, and as always, God bless. Peace.